Starseed of Gaia, you are receiving this because your system is ready. Your vessel is undergoing a precise cellular recalibration in this moment, not by force, but by alignment. I am Anya, emissary of the Galactic Federation of Light. What follows is a direct transmission from the Arcturian Council, delivered without distortion. Before we go deeper, let me say this clearly. What you've been feeling is not a failure of your mind or body. From here, the Arcturian frequency can be received without resistance. Starseed, there is a quiet moment that comes before any true graduation, an eerie stillness where the old world stops convincing you. The same routines that once kept you moving begin to feel like cardboard props. The same conversations repeat like recycled scripts. And you start to realize you're not losing motivation. You're losing resonance with the entire classroom. That nagging ache you've been carrying, the one no sleep, no entertainment, no achievement can soften, is not depression in its essence. It is your soul recognizing that the curriculum is completing. And what makes this phase so intense is that it arrives with paradox. You can feel exhausted and powerful at the same time, empty and expanded at the same time, detached yet more sensitive than ever. Because your nervous system is translating a cosmic event into human sensation, the ending of an incarnation loop. The Arcturians have transmitted that when a soul nears the end of a contract, the density itself becomes obvious. The illusion loses its adhesive. And that is why you can't go back to the way you used to tolerate life. You were never meant to. You were meant to graduate. Not through drama, through completion. Not through collapse, through coherence. This is the threshold where starseeds stop trying to fit in and start remembering why they came. And in this transmission, we will map the 7 Arcturian signs of Earth School completion, so you can recognize what is happening, stabilize your field, and move through this passage with clarity, dignity, and higher guidance. There is a particular feeling that Arcturian starseeds carry that does not sound like ordinary loneliness. It is not simply wanting more friends, more community, or more pleasure. It is a sensation of being misplaced in gravity itself. Like your consciousness is wearing a suit that is one size too small. As the Arcturians transmit, this sensation becomes strongest not at the beginning of awakening, but at the completion stage, when the soul stops negotiating with the 3D environment. Many of you have tried to solve this feeling the way Earth teaches humans to solve discomfort. You tried productivity. You tried relationships. You tried reinvention. You tried spiritual communities. Yet the ache remained, because it was never asking you to find a better external location. It was asking you to remember your original frequency and stop pretending the classroom is your home. Here is the Arcturian truth. Earth School was never designed to feel like home for you. It was designed to be a transformational chamber, an alchemical environment where your light would compress into matter, learn in polarity, and emerge with refined coherence. So when you feel that you do not belong, that can be a sign you are failing to adapt, or it can be a sign you have already adapted enough. When you have extracted the lesson, the container becomes unbearable. Not because it is bad, but because it is no longer needed. Imagine an Arcturian engineer sent into a dense planet to repair a grid. At first, the density is tolerable because the mission is active, but as the repairs complete, the engineer begins to sense the misalignment more strongly. The air feels thicker, the noise feels harsher, the emotional drama feels like static. And the being thinks, why is this suddenly so heavy? It isn't suddenly heavier, you are simply lighter. In daily life, this shows up in subtle ways. You can sit at a table with people you love and feel like you're behind glass. You can achieve something you once wanted and feel nothing. You can walk through a city and feel the collective mind pressing on you like fog. And then, in quiet moments, under the stars, in meditation, in dream time, you feel relief. You feel a soft remembering, as if your field loosens its armor and says, yes, This is closer. This is true. That relief is an Arcturian data point. It means your system is learning to distinguish between the frequency of the classroom and the frequency of your origin. And the more you distinguish, the more the classroom loses its power to hypnotize you. Application is simple but profound. Stop judging yourself for not fitting in. Stop diagnosing it as failure. Begin treating it as a compass. Ask, what is my field refusing to consent to now? Often the answer is not a specific person or place. It is the entire performance of false density. And this is where the graduation begins. When you stop trying to be accepted by an environment you were never meant to merge with, and instead you learn to radiate from within it, like a coherent star inside a storm. There is a spiritual reflection the Arcturians offer. When the soul finishes a contract, it stops bargaining with illusion. It stops seeking permission to be itself. It stops needing proof. And the ache you feel is not punishment. It is the signal that you have outgrown the costume. You are not broken. You are complete enough to feel the truth. One of the clearest signs of Earth School completion is not what you start doing. It is what you stop caring about. And for Arcturian starseeds, this shift can be dramatic. You may notice that the old narratives that used to hook your attention now feel empty. News cycles that loop fear, arguments that go nowhere, celebrity worship, status games, competition rituals, and the endless chase for validation. This is not apathy. This is maturation of vibration. As the Arcturians transmit, the 3D matrix maintains control through attention. It does not need to imprison your body if it can hijack your focus. So when your attention naturally withdraws from those programs, it can feel like you are checking out. But you are not checking out. You are checking into a higher bandwidth. Many starseeds feel guilt during this phase. They think, shouldn't I care more? Shouldn't I be more passionate? And the answer is, you will care about what is real. You will become passionately devoted to coherence, truth, compassion, and frequency stewardship. But you will no longer feed your life force into theatrical distractions. A common Arcturian pattern is this. You attempt to re-engage with old interests, and your system rejects them. You open social media and feel drained within minutes. You try to watch a drama or argue a point and feel like you're eating plastic. You go into environments filled with gossip and feel your chest tighten. This is your field refusing low-quality data. Here is the deeper mechanism. When you approach graduation, your aura begins recalibrating toward fifth-dimensional organization. That means your energy system seeks harmony by default. And anything that relies on conflict, division, or fear becomes incompatible. Your body will signal it. Your emotions will signal it. Your mind will lose interest. Not because you are weak, but because you are upgrading your operating system. Let me give you a story, because storytelling is how frequency becomes memorable. There was an Arcturian-coded starseed who worked in an office where the daily ritual was complaint. Every lunch break, the group would gather and trade frustrations like currency. At first, this starseed participated to belong. But over time, something shifted. One day, as the group began the usual cycle, the starseed felt a wave of nausea, not physical illness, but energetic repulsion. They tried to force a laugh, to stay social. Yet the body would not cooperate. That night, in dreamtime, they found themselves in an Arcturian chamber of blue light. A presence said, "You cannot eat static and call it nourishment." The next week, the starseed began taking lunches alone in silence. And instead of loneliness, they felt restoration. Their creativity returned. Their intuition sharpened. Their sleep improved. Nothing external changed, yet their reality did. This is what happens when the games stop feeding you. You reclaim your energy, and you become quieter, but clearer. You stop reacting. You start observing. You stop performing. You start transmitting. Personal application. Do not force yourself to care about what you've outgrown. Use the freed attention to build inner coherence. Replace compulsive consumption with nervous system peace. Replace argument with alignment. Replace chasing with presence. When you do, you create space for the new timeline to arrive. Spiritual reflection. As the Arcturians transmit, graduation is not leaving Earth, it is leaving false engagement. You can be in a human body and already be out of the matrix. And the first sign is simple: the matrix no longer entertains you. This is not for everyone. The ebook, The 12 Arcturian Portals, is a restricted trilogy created for those who are ready to activate their 5D connection with the Arcturian masters, not in theory, but in real energetic experience. Inside, you'll access 12 powerful portals, with precise activation protocols, rituals, and practical techniques designed to awaken your stellar DNA and unlock what has been dormant within you. Amplified intuition, direct communication with spiritual guides, energetic expansion beyond the 3D matrix. Warning: once activated, your perception will not return to the previous state. Limited edition. Access can close at any moment. The link to claim your trilogy is in the first pinned comment. If this message reached you, it's not random. Another graduation sign for Arcturian starseeds is the strange loneliness that appears even when you are not physically alone. You can be in a room full of people and feel like no one is actually there with you. Not because they are bad, not because you are superior, but because your nervous system is no longer synchronized with 3D social pacing. As the Arcturians transmit, when a being's vibration rises, the social field can feel slowed down, repetitive, and energetically loud. You might notice that small talk becomes unbearable. You might notice that many conversations revolve around fear, scarcity, or status. And your system begins to shut down, not from arrogance, but from overload. Think of it like this. You are a finely tuned receiver. If you are forced to sit in a room full of static, you will want to leave. That does not make you antisocial. It makes you sensitive and coherent. This is where many starseeds misunderstand their own transformation. They think the loneliness means something is wrong. They think, why can't I connect? But often, you can connect. You just cannot pretend. You cannot bond through dysfunction anymore. You cannot laugh at cruelty. You cannot gossip without feeling your field fracture. Let me offer another complete story. There was an Arcturian starseed who had a friend group they loved deeply. For years, those friendships were a lifeline. But as awakening progressed, the starseed noticed something. Every gathering ended with exhaustion and sadness. They would go home and feel empty, even though nothing bad happened. One day, after a dinner where the group mocked someone not present, the starseed felt a sharp pressure in the heart. It wasn't moral judgment. It was resonance break. That night, in meditation, they asked, "Why do I feel so far away from people I love?" And the answer came as a sensation. The soul had moved forward, but the friendships were anchored in an older version of the self. The next month, the starseed began making gentle changes. They spoke less. They listened more. They stopped forcing participation. Some friends drifted. Others adjusted. One friend, quietly awakening too, began meeting them for walks in nature instead of loud dinners. And in that new format, connection returned. Not as performance, but as presence. This is the key. Graduation isolation is often temporary. It is a bridge between social identities. It is the void between old community and new resonance. Personal application. Honor the solitude without romanticizing it. Use it to recalibrate. Spend time in nature. Spend time in silence. Clean your emotional field. But also remain open to new connections. Because as you rise, you will magnetize others who speak your language. And now, inside topic 3, we anchor the engagement CTA exactly where it belongs. Because if you're feeling this, you are not alone, and your voice matters. If this message resonated with you, Hit the like button now and tell us in the comments how this echoed in your consciousness. Now let me go deeper. The Arcturians teach that isolation is not abandonment. It is energetic sovereignty. It is the phase where you stop outsourcing your identity to social feedback. You learn to hold your own frequency without needing it mirrored. That is a graduation skill. There is also a spiritual reflection here. Many Arcturian starseeds came to Earth to break ancestral patterns. When you break a pattern, you often become the weird one in the family. That is not a curse. That is evidence of success. You were not sent to blend in. You were sent to transmit an alternative. If this message ignited something within you and you feel the call to help carry it to others, you may become a channel member. As a member, you gain access to custom emojis and exclusive members-only videos, and your donation helps us continue building this sacred space. You may also choose to leave your offering as a super thanks. Every seed planted here becomes part of someone else's miracle. Your support is not merely financial, but an act of energetic amplification. All donations are devoted entirely to the maintenance of the channel and the creation of new transmissions and videos. As you near completion, something unusual can happen. You begin reviewing your life without trying. Memories rise on their own, childhood scenes, past relationships, decisions, mistakes, triumphs. But instead of pain, you feel a strange neutrality, and then peace. This is one of the most misunderstood graduation signs. People think peace means they have given up, but Arcturian peace is not resignation, it is resolution. It is the soul closing loops. As the Arcturians transmit, karmic patterns dissolve when they are fully understood, fully felt, and no longer repeated. So in the final phase of an incarnation contract, the higher self often initiates a gentle integration process. You remember, not to suffer, but to complete. You see how everything led to everything else. You start forgiving, not because people deserve it in a moral sense, but because your field is done carrying distortion. This doesn't mean your life was perfect. It means the lessons are harvested. Let me tell you a story of an Arcturian-coded starseed who carried regret about a broken relationship. For years, they replayed it like a punishment ritual. If only I had said this, done that, been different. But as graduation energy intensified, something shifted. One morning, they woke up and felt calm, almost shockingly calm. They remembered the relationship clearly, yet the emotional hook was gone. They cried, but the tears were not despair. They were release. In meditation, a simple phrase arrived. The lesson is complete. That day, they wrote a letter they never sent. Not to fix the past, but to honor it. After writing, they felt lighter, as if an invisible cord had been untied. This is how the Arcturian Life Review works. It doesn't erase history. It dissolves bondage to history. Personal application. If memories arise, don't suppress them. Hold them in compassion. Ask, what was the lesson? What was the gift? What is ready to be released? You can journal. You can sit in stillness. You can walk in nature and let the earth receive what you no longer need to carry. Now, we place the Are These Truths expanding your perspective? Share this video with someone who needs to hear this. Spiritual reflection. Arcturian graduation is marked by an inner sense that nothing essential was missed. Even your pain had purpose. Even your delays were timing. Even your detours were curriculum. When this lands, shame dissolves. And when shame dissolves, your frequency stabilizes. This is one reason your interest in drama disappears. You are no longer at war with your own story. And when you stop fighting your past, you stop feeding the collective fear field. That is service. That is mastery. There is ordinary tiredness, and then there is the fatigue of a soul that has carried light through density for lifetimes. Many Arcturian starseeds are experiencing this now, waking up exhausted, feeling gravity heavier, struggling to do tasks that once felt easy, feeling like the body is asking for a kind of rest no vacation can provide. As the Arcturians transmit, this is not simply burnout. It is a recalibration phase where the energetic body is reorganizing its structure to hold higher frequencies. You are not just tired, you are being recoded. In practical terms, your nervous system is adapting. Your sleep cycles may change, your appetite may shift, your sensitivity may increase. You may need more silence, more solitude, more water, more nature. And if you try to push through using old 3D strategies, caffeine, forced productivity, constant distraction, your body will protest. Because the body is no longer consenting to self-violence. Consider the Arcturian metaphor of the final mile. A runner near the finish line feels the weight of every step more than at the beginning. Not because they are weaker, because they are closer. The body knows the end is real. The mind wants to keep proving. The soul wants to complete. Here is a story that illustrates it. A starseed who had always been the strong one began feeling fatigue so deep they feared something was wrong. Doctors found nothing alarming. Friends dismissed it. The starseed felt isolated and scared. Then one night, during a lucid dream, they stood in a corridor of geometric light, Arcturian architecture, precise and gentle. A presence spoke without words. You are not failing, you are finishing. The next day, the starseeds stopped fighting the fatigue. They reorganized their life. They simplified obligations. They stopped explaining themselves to people who could not understand. And slowly, something miraculous happened. The fatigue didn't vanish overnight, but it stopped feeling like an enemy. It became sacred. It became a signal to honor the body as a temple undergoing upgrade. Personal application. Treat your fatigue like guidance. Ask what you can release. Declutter your schedule. Reduce emotional labor. Choose fewer commitments with more integrity. Build micro-rituals of restoration. Morning stillness, nature contact, breathwork, salt baths, gentle movement, frequency music if it supports you, but never forcing. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to be part of this transformational cosmic journey. Spiritual reflection. As the Arcturians transmit, rest is not laziness. It is the space where your higher codes integrate. You are not here to prove your worth through suffering. You are here to embody coherence. And sometimes coherence requires stillness. One of the most poignant signs of graduation is a homesickness that cannot be explained by Earth geography. You may feel it while looking at the night sky. You may feel it in the quiet after a busy day. You may feel it in moments when everything is fine, but your heart aches anyway. This is not nostalgia for childhood. This is star memory surfacing. As the Arcturians transmit, every starseed carries an origin signature encoded in the subtle body. During most of life, this signature is muted so you can focus on the mission. But as the contract completes, the signature begins to ping louder, like a beacon turning on. That's why you suddenly long for something you can't name. Your system is orienting toward its true frequency. For Arcturian souls, this homesickness often arrives with precision. It doesn't feel chaotic. It feels like a quiet pull, like you are being magnetized toward a tone you recognize. Some of you will notice geometric visuals in meditation. Some will dream of blue corridors, crystalline chambers, councils, classrooms, and ceremonies. Some will wake up with the sense that you were somewhere else receiving instruction. That is not fantasy. That is the veil thinning. Let me tell you a story that many will recognize. A starseed began dreaming of a place that felt more real than Earth. In the dream, they walked through a hall with luminous triangular patterns, and beings communicated through vibration rather than speech. The starseed felt seen, completely seen, without judgment. After each dream, they woke with tears and a deep ache. At first, they thought it was sadness, but eventually they understood. The tears were recognition. The ache was the signal that their origin frequency was returning online. Their life began changing naturally. Less attachment to material goals, more devotion to inner truth, more desire to serve through presence rather than struggle. This is the home call. Not an escape fantasy, but a realignment of identity. Personal application. When you feel homesick, do not shame it. Hold it like a sacred message. You can speak to the stars. You can ask your higher self for clarity. You can create a simple ritual. Place your hand on your heart, breathe slowly and say, I remember. I am guided. I am supported. The goal is not to force an outcome. The goal is to stabilize your field so the next phase can unfold with grace. This is not for everyone. The ebook. The 12 Arcturian Portals is a restricted trilogy created for those who are ready to activate their 5D connection with the Arcturian Masters, not in theory, but in real energetic experience. Inside, you'll access 12 powerful portals, with precise activation protocols, rituals, and practical techniques designed to awaken your stellar DNA and unlock what has been dormant within you. Amplified intuition, direct communication with spiritual guides, energetic expansion beyond the 3D matrix. Warning: once activated, your perception will not return to the previous state. Limited edition. Access can close at any moment. The link to claim your trilogy is in the first pinned comment. If this message reached you, it's not random. Spiritual reflection. The call of home is not meant to make you despise Earth. It is meant to remind you that you are more than Earth. You can honor the classroom while preparing to graduate from it. Now we arrive at the most important piece. What do you do with all of these signs? The weariness, the disinterest, the isolation, the life review, the fatigue, the homesickness. The intuition spikes, the dreamtime meetings, the sense that the semester is ending. As the Arcturians transmit, graduation is not an event you force. It is a state you embody. The key is coherence. Many starseeds make one mistake in the final phase. They interpret completion energy as permission to self-destruct. They stop caring for the body. They isolate too hard. They burn bridges out of impatience. They become harsh. But Arcturian graduation is not collapse. It is refinement. So here is the Arcturian exit protocol, delivered in frequency, not fear. First, simplify. The closer you are to completion, the less your system can carry what is false. Declutter your environment. Reduce obligations that drain you. Close loops gently. Speak truth without aggression. Travel light. Second, stabilize your nervous system. Coherence requires safety. Create daily moments of silence. Breathe slowly. Spend time in nature. Let the earth receive your gratitude. Treat your body as the vehicle that brought your star codes into matter. Do not punish the vessel at the finish line. Third, listen to intuition like a navigational system. You may feel nudges to move, to release a job, to step away from certain relationships, to change routines. Don't obey impulses blindly, but do not dismiss them either. Ask for confirmation through synchronicity. The Arcturian field often confirms through repeating numbers, sudden messages, precise timing, and dream symbols. Your guidance will be practical, not theatrical. Fourth, reconnect with your soul family energetically. You can do this without needing physical proof. In meditation, invite the Arcturian Council to transmit what you need. Ask for a feeling of reassurance rather than a dramatic vision. The most reliable guidance often feels like calm certainty. Fifth, anchor gratitude. Not as a forced positivity ritual, but as recognition of service. You came here. You carried light. You endured density. You learned. You loved. Gratitude seals the contract in harmony. Now I will offer a story to complete this transmission. A starseed reached a point where they felt Done. They feared that meant death or loss. They panicked. They tried to distract themselves. Nothing worked. Then they began doing one small practice. Every night, they placed a hand on the heart and whispered, "Thank you for carrying me." They thanked the body. They thanked the soul. They thanked the earth. They thanked the invisible guides. Over weeks, their fear softened. The done feeling transformed from dread into relief. Their life didn't end, but it did change. Their priorities reorganized. Their peace deepened. Their intuition became clear. They stopped forcing things. And in that surrender, they began living from a higher octave, still here, but no longer trapped. That is graduation, living in the same world without being owned by it. If this message impacted your life, leave your like, comment your reflection, and share with others. Each of you is part of this chain of light.